लक्ष्मीनाथ समारंभां नाथयामुन मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। यो नित्यमच्युत पदाम्बुज युग्मरुग्म व्यामोहतस्ततितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोः भगवतोस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। अखिलभुवनजन्मस्तेव भङ्गादिलीले विनतविवितभूतव्रात रक्षैकदीक्षे श्रुतिशिरसि विदीप्ते ब्रह्मणि श्रीनिवासे भवतु मम परस्मिन् सेमुषी भक्तिरूपा। श्रुतिशिरसि विदीप्ते ब्रह्मणि श्रीनिवासे भवतु मम परस्मिन् सेमुषी भक्तिरूपा। Wish you all a very happy Deepavali. We have all assembled here to celebrate Srinivasa Kalyanam. Swamin Sushila Sulabhashrita Parijata Sri Venkatesha Charanau Sharanam Prapadhye. He is the Swami. He is Sushilaha. Sulabha Sushilaha. Sulabhashrita Parijataha. He is none other than Venkateshaha. Venkatesha, Venkatadri. Amongst all the Divya Deshams, 3 Divya Deshas are popularly celebrated as 3 primary places of worship: Srirangam, Tirumala, Kanchi. They are also celebrated as Bhoga Mandapa, Pushpa Mandapa, Tyaga Mandapa. And then we add Jnana Mandapa, Melkotte. It becomes Mandapa Chatushtaya. Tirumala, celebrated as Pushpa Mandapa, is very special. Not only amongst the 108 Divya Deshams, amongst all the sacred sthalas on Bhuloka, Bharata Desha, Bharata Varsha is abundantly blessed because we have across the length and breadth of Bharata Varsha Bhagavan's footprints everywhere. So there are innumerable sacred sthalas across Bharata Desha. There are several Swayamvyakta sthalas too, where Bhagavan manifested as he is. When we take all of these sacred sthalas, Tirumala stands apart. It is very, very special. It is so very special because it is one kshetra which is celebrated in the Vedas. It is one kshetra which is celebrated by maximum number of Puranas. If we have to know the significance of this Punya kshetra, we have to look across all the yugas. It was called Vrishabhadri in Krita Yuga, Anjanadri in Treta Yuga, Seshadri in Dwapara Yuga, Venkatadri in Kali Yuga. Vrishabhadri was named after Vrishabhasura, who did severe penance on these hills, and therefore that place in Krita Yuga came to be known as Vrishabhadri, where Bhagavan descended to eliminate the Asura. Also, it is the same place where Bhagavan, after protecting Bhudevi during his Varaha Avatara, also chose to rest. So this kshetra is Adi Varaha Kshetra. Before Srinivasa descended, this kshetra was Adi Varaha Kshetra. Srinivasa descended and humbly asked Varahaswami to give him 100 feet of land. So like how Vamana asked Bali Chakravarthy, just give me 3 feet. Similarly, Srinivasa asked for a small piece of land and eventually occupied. It became his thala. Even today, many do not know that this is Adi Varaha Kshetra, who is still there on the banks of Swami Pushkarani. So Krita Yuga, it was celebrated as Vrishabhadri. In Treta Yuga, it was celebrated as Anjanadri. Now we all know who is Anjana. Anjana, the blessed Anjana, along with Kesari, did severe tapas, austerities in these very hills. Blessed by Vayu Bhagavan, Anjana gave birth to Supreme Bhakta Anchaneya. So in Treta Yuga, this place was celebrated as Anjanadri. In Dwapara Yuga, there was a contest between Vayu Bhagavan and Adisesha. And eventually Adisesha won not because of his strength, but because of his bhakti, his seshatva to Bhagavan. In fact, the entire range of the mountains there is nothing but manifestation of Adisesha himself. Therefore, it is Seshachala, Seshadri. Now, we all know Bhagavan descends repeatedly, but we must also know Adisesha follows always. But in the case of Srinivasa's descent, Adisesha came ahead of him, prepared the place for Bhagavan's descent. So in Dwapara Yuga, the place was celebrated as Seshadri, Vrishabhadri, Anjanadri, Seshadri. In Kali Yuga, this sacred land is celebrated as Venkatadri. Adri means mountain. Vem, Kata, Adri. Vem means samasta papas. All the papas put together is referred to by the Shabda Vem. Kata, elimination. Venkatadri, the place that annihilates, eliminates in total, without any residue, all our papas, samasta papas. Therefore, it is Venkatadri, a place where one can cleanse oneself of anadikala papas. Venkatadri also has another beautiful meaning. Vem Kata. Vem also stands for Amrita. Not ordinary Amrita, imperishability. Kata stands for Aishwarya. Vem Kata, that which bestows the twin rewards of Nishreyasa and Abhyudaya. Now, in our life and living, when we look at our Purusharthas, the ultimate goal in life, we are seeking two kinds of rewards. One is Abhyudaya, which is progress in this material life, but that alone is not enough. Ultimate goal is Nishreyasa, which is to go beyond, transcend the material realm, transcend the Leela Vibhuti and attain Bhagavan's Nitya Vibhuti, Paramapada Vaikuntha. Vem stands for Nishreyasa, Amrita, imperishability. Apahatapapma, Vijaraha, Vishokaha, Vijikitsaha, Apipasaha, Satyakamaha, Satyasankalpaha. So that Samyapatti Moksha, which is Nishreyasa. Therefore, Venkatadri is that sacred place which guarantees the twin rewards that we all seek. Such is the significance of the sacred land celebrated by the Vedas. Specifically, Rig Veda celebrates this Punyasthala, and all our Puranas to celebrate. Now, Venkatadri in Kali Yuga is even more special because of descent of Srinivasa. We are celebrating Srinivasa Kalyanam. What is Srinivasa Kalyanam? Interestingly, this particular Vivaha is celebrated as Srinivasa Kalyanam. When Rama wed Sita, we celebrate it as Sita Kalyanam. When Krishna wed Rukmini, we celebrate it as Rukmini Kalyanam. When Andal wed Ranganatha, we celebrate it as Andal Kalyanam. When Radha wed Krishna, we celebrate it as Radha Kalyanam. Interestingly, here when Srinivasa wed Padmavati, we don't celebrate it as Padmavati Kalyanam, Srinivasa Kalyanam. So there has to be something really significant here. Why do we celebrate this as Srinivasa Kalyanam? There are multiple reasons for this. First and foremost, Sita, Rukmini, they are all avatars of Sri Mahalakshmi. Padmavati Devi is not an avatar of Sri Mahalakshmi. We must understand this. Many times we think Padmavati Devi is also Sri Mahalakshmi's avatar. Padmavati Devi is a Jivatma, but she is a supreme Bhakta. We will know more about her. So here Bhagavan is wedding a Bhakta. So therefore the onus here is on Bhagavan. That is the reason why it is Srinivasa Kalyanam. Bhagavan is reaching out to his Bhakta. This is again, Srinivasa Kalyanam is so very special because once again we get a very important assurance. How do I attain him is the question that we keep asking. What all I need to do to attain him? The Shastras, after extensive explanation, finally says, you will attain him when he chooses you. Ayamatma pravachanena labhyaha na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishnavrutte tena labhyaha tasyaisha atma vivrudute tanugum swam. The Vedas declare. No amount of effort and endeavor from your side will guarantee, will assure your attainment of Bhagavan until and unless Bhagavan himself reaches out to you. So the answer to the question, how do I attain him? I will attain him when he chooses to reach out and choose me. Very important to know that while we seek to grasp Bhagavan with our intelligence, it is more important to be grasped by Bhagavan, because there is a significant difference between the Bhagavan I grasp and the Bhagavan who grasps me. We need to know this difference. We are all trying to grasp him through our limited intellect, through our limited faculties. Yes, we must seek to grasp him because that is the reason why we have been given all these unique faculties. But there is a significant difference between the Srinivasa we try to grasp and the Srinivasa who actually grasps us. What is the difference? The Srinivasa that we try to grasp, our conception of him, of Bhagavan, is primarily he is our problem solver. Our conception of a Bhagavan is primarily he is our family therapist. Because he is patiently listening to everything that we pour out to him. Who else will listen? And not in this one lifetime. We have been pouring out to him for several lifetimes. No therapist will be that patient. So our conception is a problem solver. He is not a family therapist, a cosmic therapist. We can say that. And he is also the provider of all our provisions. That is our conception. So the Srinivasa we grasp is one conception, but who is the Srinivasa who grasps us? He is Sarvaloka Suhrud. The one who grasps us, Bhagavan who grasps us, he is our only well-wisher. Not just our ultimate well-wisher, he is our only well-wisher. We may say there are so many well-wishers around me. Yes, we are blessed. But each of those well-wishers are essentially channels of the ultimate well-wisher. Therefore, he is our only well-wisher. He is the only one who is looking at us and looking at our holistic well-being, body, mind and soul. So therefore, the treatment sometimes that he gives us, we may not be able to understand. He may be giving a treatment for the soul. The body may suffer. We may think we are suffering, but actually he is giving a treatment to our soul. We may not understand, but he is truly our well-wisher, treating us at all levels. Why? So that he can attain us, not we to attain him, because more than we longing for him, Bhagavan is longing for us. We may or may not bear this separation with him. We may not even recognize it. But Bhagavan is constantly longing for the union. And where else can we find out when Srinivasa descends all the way from Vaikuntha only for one reason? This is that special avatara. No other avatara is as special as the avatara of Srinivasa. Because why? Rama did not descend only to marry Sita. Krishna did not descend only to marry Rukmini. We know he had a long list. All that we know. But Srinivasa descended only to marry Padmavati. The very purpose of the descent of Srinivasa is to marry Padmavati Devi. There is no other purpose. Basically showing that Bhagavan will go to any length to reach us. He may not be reachable to us, but we are always reachable to him. So when we celebrate Srinivasa Kalyanam, when we have to celebrate the avatara of Srinivasa, Kritetu Narasimho Bhu Tetayam Raghunandana Vapare Vasudevascha Kalau Venkatanayaka. Kalau Venkatanayaka. In Kali Yuga, the Venkatanayaka, he is Venkatanayaka. Why he is Venkatanayaka? The good thing about Srinivasa, which is very reassuring to all of us, he rewards both Nishreyasa and Abhyudaya. That is why there is a long queue there. Bhagavan turns around and says, from tomorrow, only those who are seeking Nishreyasa, Moksha, please come. We will have easy darshan. All of us can plan and then go there. We can stand there. There will be no crowd. But Venkatanayaka knows the only way to strengthen Shraddha and Bhakti is to abundantly bless his bhaktas with both Nishreyasa and Abhyudaya. And when we get both, we too continue to strive on the same path. Because the day Abhyudaya stops, our Shraddha also starts to shake. Isn't it? So, Venkatanayaka, therefore, he knows in Kali Yuga what is needed. And Kalau Venkatanayaka. In Kali Yuga, he descended as Srinivasa, and his descent is Srinivasa Kalyana. The whole avatara is Srinivasa Kalyana. The whole charitra is Srinivasa Kalyana. Unlike any other avataras, where Bhagavan's Kalyana is celebrated as part of the avatara. But in Srinivasa's avatara, there is nothing other than Kalyana. The entire Srinivasa Charitra is Srinivasa Kalyana. So therefore, why Srinivasa Kalyanam? The answer is very simple. It is our Kalyanam. Srinivasa Kalyanam is our Kalyanam with Bhagavan. This is where the Paramatma is reaching out. He is saying, I am waiting for you. Accept you as my bride, because Paramatma is the only groom. Every Jivatma can become his bride. The Seshi, the Sarva Seshi, is throughout Kali Yuga stands on Seshachala waiting for Seshatva to blossom in all of us. So that when the Atma, Jivatma recognizes that I am his Sesha, he is extending his hand to hold and marry each and every one of us. Therefore, Srinivasa Kalyanam is so very special. Srinivasa Kalyanam is not just a union of Paramatma with Jivatma. It is much more than that. It is not just the marriage of the infinite with the finite. It is the consummation of Bhagavan's bondage. Now all of you are thinking, Bhagavan's bondage. Srinivasa Kalyanam is the consummation of Bhagavan's bondage. Immediately we will ask, how can we say Bhagavan's bondage? Bhagavan is not bound like all of us. We are bound in samsara. Is Bhagavan also bound? The answer is yes. He is also bound. He is also in bondage. But there is a slight difference. We are bound by our karma. But Bhagavan is bound not by karma, but he is bound by our prema. Bhagavan is also bound by his promises. Bhagavan is also bound by the pledge that he himself has made. Therefore, he is in eternal bondage. We may not be in eternal bondage. The moment we get moksha, we get liberated. Bhagavan never ceases to be liberated from his own bondage, the bondage of prema, the bondage of the promises that he made, the bondage of the pledge that he has made. Sakriteva prapannaya tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadamyetad vratam mama. Who can ever forget the pledge that Ramachandra made? Sakriteva prapannaya. If someone surrenders to me even once, attempts to surrender to me once, declaring, hey Bhagavan, I am yours, I belong to you, I guarantee eternal protection to them. This is the pledge that Sri Ramachandra made in Treta Yuga. And in Dwapara Yuga, he made another pledge. And we all know that glorious Charama Shloka. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarvapapebhyaha mokshayishyami masuchaha. Renouncing every other dharma, surrender unto me alone. Ekam sharanam vraja. When we surrender to 100 different people and say, Bhagavan, I have surrendered to you, that is not Sharanagati. Mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarvapapebhyaha. I shall liberate you. Mokshayishyami masuchaha. Now, see this divine coincidence. We are here to celebrate Deepavali. And some might have wondered, looking at the topic Deepavali and Srinivasa Kalyanam, how they are related. But we must know that there is a beautiful relationship. Now, Deepavali, of all the festivals, is very, very special. In Bharata Desha, there is no dearth of festivals. Every day is a festival. Every day is meant to be a festival. There are so many grand festivals, but Deepavali is very unique. Across Bharata Desha, if there is one festival that unites the length and breadth of Bharata. It is one festival which is Deepavali because it celebrates two avatars. It is Deepavali. Every other festival celebrates only one. But Deepavali celebrates two avatars. Rama avatara, Krishna avatara. The coming home of Rama, the slaying of Naraka. Two important incidents in the history of Bharata Varsha, celebrated together as Deepotsava, Deepavali. Therefore, when we see Treta Yuga, the incident of Treta Yuga and the incident of Dwapara Yuga now is getting connected in Kali Yuga through Srinivasa. Srinivasa's descent is because Srinivasa Kalyanam is the culmination of Bhagavan's pledge made in Treta Yuga and Dwapara Yuga. The pledge that he made in Treta Yuga and Dwapara Yuga is culminating through Srinivasa Kalyanam. Because in Srinivasa Kalyanam, he is essentially keeping up that promise. He is keeping up that promise of eternal protection to those who surrender to him even once. He is keeping up that promise of those who renounce every other means and take refuge in his Padaravinda. He shall take care of all kinds of liberation. Now, therefore, Srinivasa Kalyanam is a culmination of two pledges, two promises. We said Bhagavan is bound by his promise. So, therefore, it is that bondage of Bhagavan which resulted in descending in Kali Yuga, culminating these two pledges. So, in a way, Srinivasa Kalyanam is a celebration of Ramacharama Shloka and Krishna Charama Shloka. So, therefore, Srinivasa Kalyanam is an appropriate topic to celebrate on the happy occasion of Deepavali. Now, we have seen that Bhagavan is in bondage of his own promises. He is also in another kind of bondage. He is bound by debts. Start wondering, Bhagavan has debts? He has more debts than any one of us can ever think. Every time a bhakta sheds one drop of tear in his longing, the Bhagavan immediately is indebted to that bhakta. Every time a Bhagavan looks at him and says, "Hey Govinda," just once, Bhagavan becomes eternally indebted to that bhakta. He loves to be indebted. He loves to be in debt. He keeps accumulating debts. He keeps accumulating debts and he keeps repaying those debts as well. Therefore, Srinivasa Kalyanam is also a culmination, or rather should I say settlement of two very important debts of Bhagavan. What are these two important debts? Again, we have to go back into the yugas. One debt in Treta Yuga, one debt in Dwapara Yuga. See how we, again, Srinivasa Kalyanam connects, Srinivasa connects all the yugas. What is the debt? Why he is indebted in Treta Yuga? In Treta Yuga, there was this great bhakta, pious lady by the name Vedavati, who did intense tapas, austerities to please Narayana. All she wanted, her mission in life was to attain Narayana, and she wanted Narayana to marry her. And she dedicated her entire life in doing intense tapasya to Narayana. Unfortunately, the wicked, evil Ravana tried to pollute her tapas. Ravana approached Vedavati, and as he did with many other Devakanyas at that time, this was much before Sita Mata was abducted by Ravana. Vedavati had no one to come to her rescue, and she immolated herself. She sacrificed herself. Bhagavan had made a promise to Vedavati that he shall hold her hand, he shall marry. So that debt to Vedavati in Treta Yuga remained unfulfilled. Another debt in Dwapara Yuga. We all know that Bhagavan is indebted to Yashoda Mata. Yashoda Mata not just took care of Krishna. She nurtured him, pampered him, fed him, loved him. She gave her very life to Krishna for just 10 fleeting years. For Yashoda Mata, it was like the twinkling of the eye. Suddenly Krishna was there, and suddenly Krishna was gone. Krishna too knew that Yashoda Maya deserved a lot more than those fleeting moments of Brahmananda that he had bestowed upon her. Yashoda Mata deserved more Kainkariya. Not only that, Yashoda Mata could only enjoy 10 years of Krishna Avatara. And as a mother, she never got invited to any of his weddings. Obviously, it's a big disservice that was done to Yashoda Mata. Bhagavan was indebted to Yashoda Mata. This is a debt that must be settled. Debt in Dwapara Yuga, debt in Treta Yuga. Now Bhagavan said, let me take both of these debts, and in Kali Yuga, through Srinivasa Kalyanam, I am going to settle both the debts together. How? It is Vedavati who took rebirth as Padmavati Devi, and Yashoda Mata took rebirth as Vakula Devi, who became Srinivasa's foster mother. And therefore, through Srinivasa's descent, Bhagavan arranged to settle these two divine debts. So Srinivasa Kalyanam is also a culmination, a total settlement of Bhagavan's two very important debts. Such is the glory of Srinivasa Kalyanam. It is, the Srinivasa Kalyanam is a union of Bhagavan's promise with a bhakta's devotion. Srinivasa Kalyanam is a marriage of Bhagavat Kripa with a bhakta's Shraddha. Srinivasa Kalyanam is a celebration of Sharanagati and Bhakti. Therefore, it is celebrated eternally. Srinivasa Kalyanam happened right at the beginning of Kali Yuga, but every time we celebrate, we are actually celebrating the commemoration. Srinivasa Kalyanam is the beginning of not just one event. It is the beginning of repeated events of the union of Paramatma with the Jivatma. Such is the significance of Srinivasa Kalyanam. Who is this Srinivasa? Next question we must ask. Who is this Srinivasa? Akhila Bhuvana Janmastema Vangadi Lile Vinata Vivita Bhuta Vrata Rakshayika Dikshe Shruti Sirasi Vidipte Brahmani Srinivase Bhavatumama Paraspinne Semushi Bhakti Rupa. Swami Ramanuja, in his Mangala Shloka to Sri Bhashyam, the commentary on Brahma Sutras, beautifully describes who is that Brahman. And he says that Brahman is Srinivasa. Akhila Bhuvana Janmastema Bhangadi Lile. Who is that Parabrahman? The Shastras attempt only to ask this question. This is the repeated question that all of us have. How do I know him? We translate in English Parabrahman to God, which does not do any justice. The term God is so very simple. But who is he? Who is that supreme being? Akhila Bhuvana Janmasteva Vangadi Lile. The one who is the origin of the threefold cosmic functions of creation, sustenance, and maintenance and dissolution. Not only that, he carries out these three cosmic functions of Srishti, Sthiti and Laya as Leela. Bhangadi Leela. He carries out as Leela, just with his Sankalpa as Leela, which means there is no selfish interest for Bhagavan here. It is Leela. Very important to understand that. Vinata Vivita Bhuta Vrata Rakshaika Dikshe. Not only he is the cause of all causes, he is Akila Karana, Jagat Karana, Nishkarana, Adbhuta Karana, that Adi Karana is also the one who has taken a solemn pledge to protect those who have surrendered to him. Vinata Vivita Bhuta Vrata Rakshaika Diksha. Bhagavan has taken the Diksha eternally. He is in Diksha all the time. Once in a while we say, let me take Diksha. Our Diksha is very temporary because we are not able to hold on to the promises that we make. Very difficult for us. We are used to breaking our promises. Today we make, sometimes tomorrow we break, sometimes the same day also we break. Bhagavan never breaks his promises. And he's made one promise to us. So this is the most important assurance, that he shall redeem, he shall deliver us. And he is Vinata Vivita Bhuta Vrata Rakshaika Dikshe. Who is he? Who is that Parabrahman? Shruti Sirasi Vidipte. Shruti means Vedas. Shruti Sirasi. Sirasi is the crown, the head, the Vedanta. He is the one who is sung, who is glorified, who is exalted, who is revealed in the Vedas and the Vedanta. But unfortunately for us, the Vedas and the Vedanta also speak in a different language. No, when I say different language, I don't mean Sanskrit. They are in Sanskrit, but even that Sanskrit is not the Sanskrit that we can easily know. The different language, they speak to our heart, not to our minds. The same Vedas, Shruti Sirasi Vidipte. Vedas are meant to reveal Bhagavan, but the same Vedas end up declaring Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasasaha. Essentially saying, when we ask the Vedas the question, how do I know him? The Vedas simply answer, you will know him when you know that you can't know him. Is this an answer? Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasasaha. Know him that you can never know him. On the other hand, the Vedas also say, knowing, you can also know him. So then we ask this question. Tell us categorically, we don't want this two-way answers. Can I know him? Can I not know him? The Vedas immediately say, you can know him, but you also cannot know him. How is it possible? The Vedas say, yes, you cannot know him. First, once again it answers. Then we are bewildered. I cannot know him. Then the Vedas say, you can know him through an Acharya. Therefore, the Jagadacharya says, Shruti Sirasi Vidipte Brahmani Srinivase. Don't go around searching for that Parabrahman. He is waiting for you on Seshachala. That Srinivasa is the Pratyaksha Brahman. There is no need for us to keep asking this question, exercising our intellect and searching for him and saying, can I find him? Can I not find him? Can I see him? Can I not see him? Repeatedly, we keep engaged in this intellectual conversations. We end up spending our entire lifetime without finding an answer. The answer is found when we are in front of that Srinivasa, even for a fraction of a second. We get the answer. Mukhe charuhasam, kare shankachakram, kale ratnamalam, swayam meghavarnam, tata divyashastram, priyam pitavastram, tadabhiti hastam, muda janupanim, dharantam murarim bhaje venkatesham. The answer to this question comes not through an intellectual analysis, but through an immersive experience of standing in front of Srinivasa. Therefore, the Jagadacharya simply points, says, Shruti Sirasi Vidipte Brahmani Srinivase. The one who is accessible to you, who is waiting for you. Don't go around searching for him when he is there. waiting for you. Mukhe charuhasam, waiting for us with a magnetic smile. Kare shanka chakram, gale ratnamalam, swayam meghavarnam. Tata divya shastram. Shastra is to assure us that we remain protected all the time. Priyam pita vastra, striking. The vastra is pita, strikes us, draws us towards him. Tada abhiti hastam. The moment we stand right in front of him, all kinds of bhiti disappear. He is that Venkatesha. He is that Parabrahman. Kamalaku chachuchuka kunkumato niyataruni tatula nilatano kamalayata lochana lokapate vijayi bhava venkata shailapate. What a magnetic hue the Lord has. His dark hue, it seems, is rendered red in color. Very unique here. Bhagavan Srinivasa, his dark hue, darkish blue rain-bearing clouds is rendered red, reminds us of dawn, a glorious dawn. It is like symbolic of the rise of Bhakti Devi in us. Why it is rendered red? Because of the kumkuma of Sri Devi, who is eternally, intimately united with him. Kamalaku chachuchuka kunkumato niyataruni tatula nilatano kamalayata lochana lokapate vijayi bhava venkata shailapate. He is vijayi bhava venkata shailapate. So therefore, who is that Srinivasa? Akila bhuvana janmaste mabangadi leele vinata vivita bhuta vrata rakshaika dikshe shruti sirasi vidipte brahmani Srinivase bhavatu mama paraspinne semushi bhakti rupa. May I be endowed with that highest jnana. All that we can do is not going around searching for him. All that we can do is seek his blessings so that we may be endowed with the highest form of jnana. Semushi bhakti rupa, Ramanuja says. Bhakti rupa panna jnana. When jnana matures into bhakti, immediately we recognize that Srinivasa standing right in front of us is that Parabrahman who has descended only for our sake. Shruti sirasi vidipte Brahmani Srinivase. This Srinivasa is celebrated in the Rigveda in two ways, very interestingly. We also see how Srinivasa is coming together of two different avatars as well, the descent of Srinivasa. Ato deva avantuno yato vishnur vichakrame prithivya saptadhamavihi idam vishnur vichakrame treda nidate padam samudamasya phagum sure trini pada vichakrame vishnor gopa adabhyaha tato dharmani dharayan. The first Ashtaka in Rigveda celebrates Trivikramavatara. To reveal Brahman to us, it celebrates the Trivikramavatara where, Vamana instantaneously became Trivikrama. He started to measure all the lokas. With one step, he measured all the Urdhva lokas. Other step, he measured all the Adho lokas. We may ask, Bali Chakravarthy only Usut, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. Only 3 lokas. Why did Bhagavan go around measuring the entire Brahmanda? Basically to say, from now on, nobody should venture to usurp any part of what belongs to me. Swamitva. Through Trivikramavatara, Bhagavan demonstrates that he is the Swami, Savaloka Swami. Everything belongs to him. He is the Sarvadhara. He is the Sarvaseshi. And it is that Trivikramavatara where Bhagavan also shows Idam Vishnur Vichakrame Treda Nidate Padam Samudamasya Phagum Sure. The one who he measures what he has already created. He is not measuring something which he has not created, which means he pervades everything and anything. Bhagavan not just creates, he pervades and permeates everything that he has created. His leelas are atimanusha, beyond our reasoning. And why does he pervade and permeate his entire creation? Tato dharmani dharayan. to establish dharma, order. Bhagavan does two things. When we say establish dharma, he establishes dharma, order in the outer world. And in the process of establishing dharma in the outer world, he establishes prema in the inner world. The same time, he does both. And revealing who this Brahman is, the Rig Veda describes the glorious Trivikrama Cheshtita. This is in the first Ashtaka of Rig Veda. In the second Ashtaka of Rig Veda, there is another beautiful declaration. Vishnurnukam Viryadi Pravocham Yapattivani Vivame Rajagumsayo Askabaya Duttaragum Sadastam Vichakramanas Tredoru Gayaha. The Veda says, let me now describe the wondrous deed, wondrous leela of Bhagavan. Let me immediately reveal. It says, why immediately reveal? Because the Vedas are also trying to keep up with the pace with which it seems Bhagavan is engaging in his leela. And which leela is that? Mrugona bhimah kucharo ghirishta. In the second Ashtaka, Rig Veda is revealing Brahman through Nrsimhavatara. Because Nrsimhavatara, nobody knew what he will do, when he will do, at what pace. Yasyo trishu vikramaneshu adhikshayanti bhuvanani vishwa. Now, in the first Ashtaka, Trivikrama Avatara, Bhagavan teaches that he is the Swami. He is the one who sets the laws that govern the workings of this universe. In the second Ashtaka, to Nrsimha, Bhagavan says anybody who breaks the law will be eliminated. Everyone who aligns with the law gets protected. Swamitva, Rakshakatva. Now, also, Sayanacharya, in his commentary on the Rig Veda, beautifully says, Brugona Bhimah Kucharo Girishtaha. The one, it is the Vaikunta Kantirava who made a flash of a jump and settled himself on the Giri. It is not just Narasimha, it is Venkatasimha. In a way, the Venkatasimha is coming together of Vikramasimha and Narasimha. Trivikrama and Narasimha coming together is Venkatesha Srinivasa. You may ask, how do we recognize this? How do we recognize that he is coming together of Trivikrama and Narasimha? When we stand in front of Srinivasa, it strikes us. It strikes us how he is coming together of Swamitva, Rakshakatva. Now, all of us would have undergone this exhilarating experience of soaking in the Divyamangala Vigraha of Srinivasa. Mukhe Charuhasam, Kare Shankachakram, Sada Bhiti Hastam. You must immediately notice his hasta, Abhaya hasta. If we see Srinivasa as standing majestically with his Abhaya, the right hand, Abhaya hasta is actually pointing to his lotus feet. His right hand, Abhaya hasta, is pointing to his lotus feet. So essentially saying, come surrender to me. I am the Swami. These lotus feet are the same lotus feet. Trini pada vichakrame Vishnur gopa adabhyaha tato dharmani dharayan. The feet that traversed across Brahmanda to establish dharma, these are those divine lotus feet. Surrendered to them. Surrendering to those divine lotus feet alone is our dharma in Kali Yuga. So therefore, one hand, the front hand, Bhagavan has Chaturbhuja, the two back hands are holding Shankha and Chakra, Kare Shankha Chakra. One hand, Sada Abhiti Hastam, Sada, the Abhiti, the moment when we see his hasta is pointing to the lotus feet, all kinds of fear in us vanish. In his glorious presence, we become fearless. Now, therefore, Trivikrama is represented by Srinivasa. So we can say 1 foot of Bhagavan represents Trivikramavatara. There is another divine feet. What is that? Now, Venkatesh, how many of you have noticed his other hand is gently tilted and pointing to his knee. Now, that is pointing to the knee and to his left foot. Basically, this is representing Narasimha, essentially saying, you have surrendered to me. Now, the moment you surrendered to me, the samsara sagara will become knee deep. You are no longer overpowered the samsara sagara. All the obstacles that come in your way, it is my responsibility to eliminate those obstacles. Just like how Narasimha removes all the obstacles, Srinivasa is pointing, saying, I remove all the obstacles. Sada bhiti hastam mudajanupanim. One very interesting characteristic of Srinivasa is two hands, right and left hand, are very long, graceful, long, and he is extending those arms very joyfully. Muda Janupani. Why is extending his arms? He is so eager to point out to us both his divine lotus feet. One foot representing Trivikrama, another foot representing Narasimha, coming together is the Pratyaksha in Kali Yuga. So therefore, who is that Srinivasa? Bhavatu mama parasmin semushi bhakti rupa shruti sirasi vidipte brahmani Srinivase. That Parabrahman is that Srinivasa. Vedas declare this, all the Puranas declare and celebrate this. Now, having known who is that Srinivasa, we must now look at the Charitra. Some story time. So some who possibly know this Venkat Srinivasa Kalyanam are wondering, all philosophy, where is the Katha? Katha is coming. Srinivasa Kalyanam is also a Sundara Katha. Now, for the Kalyanam to happen, there has to be all kinds of ingredients. Bhagavan is Leeladhari. So he orchestrates a beautiful Leela. And almost everyone is part of this Leela. This time he decides that he will involve Chaturmukha Brahma, he will involve Paramashiva, he will involve all the sages, all the devatas. Srinivasa Kalyanam is so very special because this is also the Kalyana where the entire Bhuloka was filled with all the devatas. So every devata had to play a role. And it all once again started in Naimisharanya. And all the rishis of Naimisharanya, right at the beginning of Kali Yuga, were performing Satrayaga or Lokakshema. They all realize that Kali Yuga has begun and Kali Purusha is playing havoc. We all wonder, Kali Purusha playing havoc 5,500 years back? You must come now and see the play. That's what we will say. Play Abhi just started. Kali is still there. But they all have the Divya Drishti, and all the rishis realized that we must do something for Lokakshema. They started performing Satrayaga. And as Satrayaga was being performed, Narada passed by. Immediately people will say, Naradaha Kalahapriyaha. Narada is not Kalahapriya. Narada is possibly, we can call him as the catalyst in Lokakshema. Everything that Narada does is actually, he is a catalyst. And again, Narada plays a very important role here. So all the rishis are performing Satrayaga. He comes and he approaches the rishis and he says, I'm very pleased that you are doing the Satrayaga. Now, very, very innocently ask this question. Now, to whom will you offer the fruit of this yajna? Who is going to be the ultimate recipient of the Satra yajna that you're going to perform? In many ways, a similar question was earlier asked in Dwapara Yuga by Yudhishthira to Bhishma. Kimekam daivatam loke kimvapekam parayanam. Who is that supreme being and who is the ultimate goal? A similar question Narada is asking to the rishis here performing Satra Yaga. Because the ultimate fruit of this yaga has to be offered to the supreme being. Who is the Yajnapati? Yajno, Yajnapatir, Yajva, Yajnango, Yajnavahanaha. Essentially, the question is, who is that Yajno, Yajnapatir, Yajva, Yajnango, Yajnavahanaha? If Bhishma would have been there, he would have simply answered, very simple, Bhut Bhuva Swasturustara Savita Pravitamaha Yajno Yajnapatir Yajva Yajnango Yajnavahanaha. Do you want to know who is this is? Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaraha Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. He is the one who is the Yajnaha Yajnapatihi. Ajopisan Avyayatma Bhutanam Ishwaropisan. He is none other than Vanamali Gati Shanki Chakri Chanandaki Shriman Narayano Vishnuhu. Bhishma would have answered that. Now, all the rishis would have also answered that. But Vichitra Ishwara Sankalpa, Bhagavan, he decided to do a Leela. So, therefore, the rishis also wanted to undergo a test. So, there was a test that was conducted. And Bhrigu was given the task. Go and find out. And what did Bhrigu do? He promptly said, he took off and he went to Satyaloka. And as he went to Satyaloka, Brahma was very busy engaged in Vyashti Srishti. Together, supported by Saraswati Devi, Brahma was immersed in the Vedas and he was very, very actively engaged in Vyashti Srishti, and therefore he neither welcomed Bhrigu Maharshi nor even acknowledged. Bhrigu Maharshi immediately looked at Brahma and said, I curse you. In Kali Yuga, you will not be worshipped in any temples across Bhuloka. And then he rushes out of Satyaloka. He goes to Kailasha, where Paramashiva, together with Parvati Devi, was immersed in his Rudra Tandava. Rudra Tandava was happening with all the Shivaganas. Shiva was engaged in Rudra Tandava and he was enraged when he saw an intruder coming in the form of Bhrigu. And Bhrigu did not like this. And therefore, Bhrigu cursed Paramashiva, saying, I curse you that you will be worshipped in Kali Yuga, in Bhuloka, only in the form of your linga, not based on your rupa. And therefore, he rushed out of Kailasha. We must see why all this Leela, all this drama is being played, only for one purpose. Bhagavan wanted to marry Padmavati. As simple as that. Eventually, that was what he wanted to do. But he wanted to shake the entire Brahmanda before that could happen. Now, this is how Bhagavan carries out his Leelas. Now, Bhrigu Maharshi rushes to Kshirabdi, where Narayana was reclined on Adisesha, was in his Yoga Nidra, and Sri Mahalakshmi was doing Kainkarya to his Aravinda Locha, to his Pada Aravinda. Bhrigu Maharshi rushed, and then in a rage, he kicked Narayana on his chest. He lifted his foot. Before Sri Mahalakshmi could realize what was happening, she was welcoming him with a broad smile. But then Bhrigu went and kicked him. Now the entire Brahmanda stopped for a moment. Here is Bhrigu Maharshi kicking Bhagavan on his divine chest, the place where his Srivatsa is installed. And what did Bhagavan do? He did not react with wrath. He responded with grace. He got up, looked at Bhrigu Maharshi and said, Hey Maharshi, you must have traversed a long distance and your feet must have been very tired. Did they get hurt? By kicking my chest, is it paining? I hope your leg is not paining. He made Bhrigu Maharshi to sit and started to wash his feet. Gave him Adyam Padyam Achavaniyam and he did all the Kainkarya to him. Bhrigu Maharshi realized this is not a simple act of forgiveness. This is the act of revelation. The act of revelation where Bhagavan was revealing who is the Yajnaha, Yajnapatihi, Yajvangaha. And therefore Bhrigu Maharshi prostrated to Narayana and then offered the Havis of the Yajna and asked for his pardon. Obviously, Bhagavan accepts everything that is given to him as offering. And in this case, even Bhrigu Maharshi's kick, Bhagavan says, when a little child is in the womb of a mother, the child kicks not once, but thousands of times. The mother will only be pleased. Mother will ask the child to kick a lot more. Similarly, I don't mind you kicking me because what you have done is also a loving offering to me. This again shows how he accepts everyone as they are. And in that process, Bhrigu Maharshi realizes and he takes leave of Bhagavan, and then he goes. The drama doesn't stop there. Now, Bhrigu Maharshi is pleased. He has now got his revelation. Bhagavan is pleased. Shri was not pleased. Then she was so dejected that Bhagavan did not admonish Bhrigu Maharshi for the apachara that he is conducted. For a change, she got angry. No, Sri Mahalakshmi never gets angry, but again, this is also that anger there was not anger, it is only her karuna and the sacrifice. Because eventually, she also knows that Bhagavan had to descend. So here, Sri Mahalakshmi paves the way for Bhagavan's descent, where she says, I will now go down to Bhuloka, and taking objection to apachara of Bhrigu Maharshi, Sri Mahalakshmi proceeds from Ksheerabdi and goes to Bhuloka to do tapas, to continue to meditate on Narayana. She chooses a very interesting place, a place called Karaveerapuram. Today we call it Kolhapur in Maharashtra. So those of you who are from Maharashtra, you know Kolhapur. So this is where Sri Mahalakshmi descended. Karaveerapuram, in Puranas it is called Karaveerapuram. And she descended and she started performing tapas, meditating on Narayana. So Sri Mahalakshmi's separation is not separation, it is only paving the way for manifestation. So Bhagavan now is without Sri Mahalakshmi. Without her, he is almost helpless. He can't do anything. Sri Vaikunta Viraktaya Swami Pushkarani Tate Ramaya Ramamanaya Venkateshaya Mangalam. Sri Vaikunta Viraktaya. Acharya beautifully says, Bhagavan, it seems, got Virakti of Sri Vaikunta. Who will say no to Sri Vaikunta? But Bhagavan, on the one hand, Sri Mahalakshmi has walked out. On the other hand, his bhakta is waiting. And therefore, Bhagavan, Sri Vaikunta Viraktaya Swami Pushkarani Tate. On the banks of Swami Pushkarani is the Varaha Kshetra, Adi Varaha Kshetra, which is Seshadri, which is going to become Venkatadri. Venkatadri Samamsthanam Brahmande Nasti Kinchana. Venkatesha Samodevo na Bhuto na Bhavishyati. The Puranas glorify Venkatadri. Venkatadri Samamsthanam Brahmande Nasti Kinchana. There is no other place that is equal to Venkatadri in terms of its sacredness. Therefore, Bhagavan decided that I will descend as Srinivasa. See the interesting Leela here. Shri has walked out, but Bhagavan descends as Srinivasa. Essentially, he descends in search of Shri. And what does he do? He descends to meditate upon Sri Mahalakshmi. This is the beauty. Nityai Vaisha Jaganmata Vishnoho Shri Ranapayini. Yata Sarvagato Vishnu Tatheveyam Vijottama. Parashara beautifully says, Shri and Vishnu are never separated out. On the one hand, Sri Mahalakshmi descends and she takes the residence in Karaveerapura. She is meditating on Mahavishnu, and Bhagavan descends as Srinivasa to meditate on Sri Mahalakshmi to obtain her back. So he descends, he meets Adivara, goes to Adivaraha Kshetra. Varaha Swami is waiting, and he takes permission of Varaha Swami so that he can settle down. Interestingly, he chooses a beautiful place on Seshachala, a place where there is a beautiful tamarind tree and an ant hill. Now, for the birth, quote unquote, of Srinivasa to happen, the tamarind tree becomes father-like and the ant hill becomes mother-like. The tamarind tree is an amsha of Dasharatha and Vasudeva. The ant hill is an amsha of Kaushalya and Devaki. And Srinivasa settles there under the tamarind tree where there is the ant hill and starts his deep tapasya. Slowly and steadily as time passes by, the ant hill grows and covers him entirely. Eventually, he goes inside the ant hill. The ant hill becomes so very big, covering him completely. Now, days pass by, months pass by. He is meditating on Shri, not eating anything, just breathing. Now, Sri Mahalakshmi is there in Karaveerapura. This happens. Wife goes on vacation, calls every day to check, have you eaten morning breakfast, have you eaten lunch, even sends menus. It happens to some blessed people. If it happens, we have to count our blessings. If it doesn't happen, hey Venkatesha, hey Srinivasa, help us. That's what we can do. Now, Sri Mahalakshmi is there in Karavirapura. She is able to feel the heartbeat of her Swami, deep in tapasya, meditating on her without eating anything. So she is now worried and concerned. What will happen to my Swami? So immediately she sends a message to Brahma and Paramashiva. And of course, Brahma and Paramashiva are so very eager to participate in the Leela. So Brahma takes the form of a cow. Paramashiva takes the form of a calf. And Sri Mahalakshmi takes, as a cowherdess, takes the cow and the calf. She approaches Narayanapuram, the place near Tirumala today, which is where the Chola king was ruling there. Approaching the Chola king, Shri, in the guise of the cowherder, says, I have a very divine cow and a calf. I entrust them in your care, and she leaves. Now the king is very, very much pleased. He calls the cowherd and he says, take care, and I want the milk from this divine cow to be fed to the prince. Therefore, take good care of both the cow and the calf. The chief cowherd himself engaged in taking care of the cow and calf every day, along with the hundreds of cows and calves that are taken to lush green pastures of Seshachala. Both Brahma and Shiva, in the form of cow and the calf, were taken every day. And the cowherd, as was his custom, after all the cows reach the green pastures, he goes and takes rest. Now, the cow and the calf, looking at the appropriate time, slowly slip away from the rest of the herd, and then they approach the ant hill, where Srinivasa, deep inside the ant hill, is meditating. The cow goes there, positions itself right on top of the ant hill, and starts to relieve milk from its udder into the ant hill, supplying milk copiously. So every day this used to happen, and Srinivasa had the divine milk. Now, where both Brahma and Shiva took the opportunity of doing Kainkarya to Bhagavan. Brahma worshipped by offering milk, and Shiva, as the calf, was circumambulating, also ensuring that nobody reaches the spot. And this was going on every day. And as the cows came back, they found that this divine cow was not yielding any milk. And everybody was shocked. Why is this happening? And therefore the cowherd decided that I will find the reason out. And then one day, he was waiting for the time when he saw the cow and the calf slipping away. And then he followed them slowly. And then he saw that wondrous act of the cow supplying milk into the anthill. He was so very angered. He picked up a stick and came rushing to give a blow to the cow. Just as he was about, he hurled the stick. Srinivasa stood up from the anthill to protect the cow, and the stick came and hit him, and he started to bleed profusely. The blood splattered all over, even on the cow. Looking at his own ghastly act, the cowherd fell unconsciously then and there. The cow, with all, essentially Brahma, with all the blood stains, rushed to the Chola king. The Chola king was alarmed. He said, let me find out what happened. And he came rushing to see that the cowherd has done this dastardly act of trying to hit the cow. And the Chola king had to bear the brunt of his cowherd for the consequence of doing apachara against a cow. Therefore, he had to bear the curse of transforming into a Brahma Rakshasa. Now, the Chola king was alarmed. Srinivasa gave him confidence, saying, do not worry, you will be immediately reborn from a Brahma Rakshasa to become the son of the Chola king Sudharma, and you will be named Akasha Raja. Soon, Akasha Raja and Tondaman, the famous Tondaman Chakravarthy, the two sons were born to Sudharma, the Chola king. Both of them great bhaktas of Bhagavan, and it is this Akasha Raja who eventually became father of Padmavati Devi. Again, another wondrous act similar to how Sita Mata was found by Janaka. While doing a yajna, ploughing the field, Akasha Raja discovered that radiating beauty, that beautiful child that was illumined by the lotus flower all around. So beautiful, he found her in the fields, and therefore he named her. Since she was discovered on a lotus flower, he named her Padmavati. And Padmavati started to grow. And Srinivasa here has been meditating. The very reason why he came is for this Padmavati is none other than the Vedavati from Treta Yuga. Now, the opportune time is coming nearer and nearer. Bhagavan is becoming very impatient. Time is passing by. Padmavati started to grow into a beautiful maiden. And it so happened that nature orchestrated their divine encounter. Srinivasa and Padmavati Devi met in the beautiful Nandavana of Akasha Raja. Padmavati's glances fell on Srinivasa. Srinivasa's divine glance fell on Padmavati, and that divine love and longing in Padmavati was rekindled. Immediately, she started to recollect her days of her tapasya that she did as Vedavati to Bhagavan, and she started to long for union with Bhagavan once again. Now Srinivasa knew the time is approaching for him to fulfill his promise to settle the debt. So he went and asked Varahamurti for more help. Varahamurti pointed out to Vakula Devi, who was serving Varahamurti. Vakula Devi was doing the kainkarya of cooking prasada for Varahamurti there. And then Srinivasa approached Vakula Devi. As Vakula Devi received Srinivasa, then and there she swooned. She knew this is her Krishna who is once again walking back. That divine experiences she had, all the Krishna Cheshtitas she was witness to, once again she started to recollect. There were horripilations all over her body, and she knew that Bhagavan is come back as per the promise that he made. He will never let me down, and therefore Vakula Devi once again started to do kainkarya to Srinivasa. Now this kainkarya comes with lot more responsibility. No, Bhagavan Srinivasa decided to give the responsibility of his marriage to his mother. No, all the young boys out there, make a note of this statement. Srinivasa handed over the responsibility of his marriage to his mother. Make a note of this. Once in a while, keep listening to this discourse. Very important. Vakula Devi was thrilled, and she said, this is the opportunity that she has been waiting for. Now, Varaprashnam has to happen, which is essentially good old days. From the groom's side, the family has to go and approach the bride's side. Everything got topsy-turvy later on. Even the system of dowry that we supposedly have today, those days, it was the groom side who actually offered everything. They never called dowry, they called Kanya Sulka, it used to be called. Because the bride coming to a family is so very auspicious, and therefore Vakula Devi made all the preparations to approach Akasha Raja and his queen in order taking the proposal, Srinivasa's proposal for getting the hand of Padmavati Devi. Vakula Devi prepares and goes. But Srinivasa is very impatient. Now this part of the segment, don't listen, the boys. Srinivasa is so very impatient. Now Vakula Devi is gone. Will she be able to convince Padmavati? Will she be able to convince Akasha Raja? What if she comes back with an answer no? What is going to happen? So he decides, now I will also take another approach. He takes the form of a tribal fortune-telling lady. And even before Vakula Devi goes, he lands up there. And then as everybody was assembled there, as a fortune-telling lady, she goes and starts singing. And she says, let me tell the fortune of this princess Padmavati. She is destined to marry only Srinivasa, only Srinivasa, only Srinivasa. Make a note. Nothing else should have. Everybody is convinced. By that time, Akasha Raja and his queen already knew that Srinivasa is none other than that Parabrahman who has descended. They too were eager to listen to this fortune-telling lady's narration. They were so pleased, but they too were waiting. Somebody should come and ask for Padmavati's hand. And as this fortune-telling lady goes, setting the stage, everything done for Vakula Devi to come. It is exactly what Krishna did. They do everything and then eventually give a small opportunity. Same thing, Vakula Devi comes. Before she could even say, can you give your Padmavati's hand to Srinivasa? Akasha Raja is queen. Everybody said, we have decided. Thanks for coming. Padmavati is yours. She is going to be your daughter-in-law. When can we fix the marriage? Bakula Devi was thrilled. Now the auspicious time has come, so that, and all the elders get together. As the discussions go on, Srinivasa is worried. Because Srinivasa, why he is worried? He's come all the way only for this. He is worried because who is going to finance this grand wedding? All the devatas are going to come. Akasha Raja also decided this has to be an unparalleled vivaha. This kalyana must be unparalleled. They all get together and they decide who should be the officiating priest who will conduct the Srinivasa Kalyanam. They all decide and they all approach the ideal person. Yaswanubhavam akilashrutisaramakam adhyatmadipam atititishyatam tamondam samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam vyasasunu upayami gurum muninam. The great Vyasasunum Shukha Brahman, Shukha Muni, who has given us the nectarine Bhagavata, has been waiting for this very moment. And Shukha Muni was approached, and even before Akasha Raja could request him, Shukha Muni said, yes, I'm coming. Obviously, he also wanted to be part of this Kainkarya, to be the officiating priest of Srinivasa Kalyanam. Shukha Muni arrived, Brihaspati arrived to support Shukha Muni. All the devatas, one after the other, started coming down. Now Srinivasa is worried. How will I finance this? And then he looked around, he said, let me approach Kubera. He goes to Kubera and he says, Kubera, this is going to be the grandest wedding ever on Bhuloka. And this is going to be the grandest ever to come for time immemorial. And for finances, I'm depending on you. Kubera is Kubera. He says, fine, I know you are Srinivasa, you are Bhagavan, but we are on Bhuloka. As per the terms and conditions of the Bhuloka, you must sign a loan agreement. And only upon you signing the loan agreement and agreeing to the conditions, where the interest is more than the principal. If you agree to this, and you have to pay it continuously, Bhagavan loves to be indebted. So he said, I am ready for anything. And he took the loan not to repay. Because even till today, he is continuing to repay the interest. And what is that interest that Bhagavan is continuing to repay? The interest on the principle he took is his undiminishing interest to uplift all of us. And therefore, Bhagavan taking the loan from Kubera, now he knows, now the money is flowing. Go ahead and let's the celebration start. The entire Seshachala is decorated. The mountains started to bloom. The birds started chirping as though the Veda mantras are being chanted. The rivers that were flowing in the Seshachala were all singing Bhagavan's glories, and all the Gandharvas were singing and dancing. There were festivities everywhere. Though the breeze carried the beautiful aroma of sweet anticipation as to what is going to happen. All the preparations have started. Padmavati is also getting ready because she also knows that what the unfulfilled longing of Treta Yuga is going to be fulfilled right here. And she too, along with her mother, father, the entire Chola kingdom, everybody was preparing for this grandest of the festivities, and the final day, that moment of the day when Srinivasa Kalyanam had to happen, arrived. And as with any beautiful creation, every beautiful creation starts with coming together of Purusha and Prakriti. The original creation started with Purusha and Prakriti coming together, not on their own, based on Vak, Shabda. It is Bhagavan's Vak. So therefore, when a Vivaha happens and a Purusha and Stri, a groom and a bride come together, this is also a mini creation that is happening, mimicking the cosmic creation. It also has to start with Vak. That is why the first step of Vaidika Vivaha is Vagdanam. But interestingly, this Vak has to come from bride's father-in-law. Bhagavan realizes the importance of his father-in-law. One thing we see in the case of Bhagavan, every avatara, he ensures that he takes care of his father-in-law very adequately. Ultimately, in any vivaha, it is the father-in-law who holds the key. And we all know, behind the confidence of every son-in-law, remains the prayers of the father-in-law. The father-in-law is praying, good luck to you, my son. You need loads of it. You need loads of it. And why is he called a father-in-law? Because he is lawfully transferring his problem to a brave soul. That is why he is a father-in-law. Bhagavan therefore realizes without Akasha Raja's verbal commitment, nothing will start. But obviously, Akasha Raja is exhilarated. Therefore, the first step of Vagdanam, the first step of any Vaidika Vivaha starts with Akasha Raja approaching Srinivasa. Yes, Srinivasa, I promise, I make a solemn promise that Padmavati Devi is yours. And that is the walk that he gives. And it is that walk that then proceeds to the next beautiful stage of Pradhanam, Kanyadanam. All the rishis, Sapta rishis, all the devatas, everybody have assembled there to witness this beautiful occasion. And Bhagavan, Srinivasa, obviously is Alankara Priya. And to match the occasion, he is dressed so very beautifully, adorning all the Divya Bhushanas. Sochita Vivida Vichitranantascharya Nitya Niravadya Sukanda Niratashya Sukasparisha Niratashya Aujwalya Kirita Mukota Chudavatamsa Bhagarakundala Greve Kahara Keyura Kataka Srivatsa Kaustuba Uttadhama Vadarabandara Kanchi Guna Mupuradi Aparimita Divya Bhushana. So very well decorated. Is waiting for Padmavati after all. So he has to not leave no stone unturned. Therefore, his body is covered with all kinds of precious stones. No stone unturned. Every possible precious stone we can find in his Alankara. Bhagavan is waiting there for Kanyadana to happen. Kanyam Kanakasampannam Karanakabharana Bhushitam Dasyami Vishtave Tubhyam Brahmaloka Jigishaya. A beautiful Kanyadana mantra, which every father of a bride, while offering Kanyadana, has to essentially look at the bridegroom. Whether he likes it or not, he has to say, you are Vishnu Rupa. Liking or not. Luckily, all the blessed ones get Vishnu as their son-in-law. So here, for Akasha Raja, Vishnu himself, it's not Vishnu like, Vishnu himself is there. Brahmaloka Jigishaya, by offering my daughter to you, Kanyam Kanakasampannam. Padmavati Devi was also matching Srinivasa. She was also wearing exquisitely beautiful ornaments. But interestingly, she is a supreme bhakta. And as is the case of a supreme bhakta, all the beautiful ornaments she was wearing was not made of gold, but actually made of her supreme bhakti for Bhagavan. Her anklets were chiming Venkatesha mantra. Her beautiful earrings were swaying to the rhythms of Bhagavan's nama, whispering gently, Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Her bracelets were shimmering with the virtues, Amanitvam, Madambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshantirajyavam, Acharyopasanam, Shaucham, Stairyam. And her forehead was glowing to match with the brilliance of the Kaustubha that was resting on Srinivasa's chest. And the flowers, the divine flowers in her braid, in the garland that she was wearing, was carrying the sweet scent of Govinda Prema. Padmavati was also accelerated. She was so beautiful, and her beauty was even more because Sri Mahalakshmi was also present. While inviting everybody else, Bhagavan also ensured that Sri Mahalakshmi was also invited from Karavirapura. So Garuda not only went and invited Brahma and Paramashiva to be part of the ceremony, also Sri Mahalakshmi arrived there. Obviously, without her blessing, no Jivatma can attain a Paramatma. After all, she is the mediatrix, the one who blesses the Jivatma and ensures that the Paramatma holds the hand of the Jivatma. So Sri Mahalakshmi was also there. Therefore, her divine radiance, her abundant blessings were there on Padmavati Devi. So, Kanyam Karakasampannam Karakabharana Bhushitam Dasyami Vishnave Tubhyam Brahmaloka Jigishaya. Therefore, Akasha Raja did Kanyadana. So, Vagdanam, Pradhanam, and from Pradhanam this is offering. Now, Akasha Raja has done. Now, after the father-in-law offers, the groom has to accept Varanam. Obviously, Bhagavan has gone through all trouble, right from taking the blow of Bhrigu Maharshi on his chest, going through all the hurdles, going through this entire Leela only for this reason, or Varanam, for to choose. He's already chosen Padmavati Devi, therefore he was there accepting her, Varanam. And that beautiful segment of Varanam is where the groom accepts the bride's father's proposition to hold the hand of the bride. And how does that happen? Through the next stage of Panipidanam, Panigrahana. Panigrahana is that stage of Vivaha where, for the first time, young adults out there must note that a groom must hold the hand of a bride for the first time. For the first time. That is the Panigrahana cannot happen outside of Vivaha. So hold your horses, wait, be patient. Vivaha, when it happens, will be invited. This is part of the Vaidika Vivaha. And therefore Akash Raja performs Panigrahana to Srinivasa. Iyam Padma, Tava Prana, Sharanagata Chetasa, Praticha Chainam, Bhadrante, Panincha Grihishwa Paninam. This is not the original shloka. I fine-tuned the Ramayana shloka. Iyam Padma, this Padmavati, Tava Prana, she is your very life breath. Sharanagata Chetasa, the one who has offered everything that she has to you. She belongs to you. Chachainam Bhadrante, Panishwa Grihishwa Paninam, Panim Grihishwa Paninam. Srinivasa, the opportune time, the appropriate time has come. This is the blessed moment. This is the Muhurta. In fact, Vivaha Muhurta is set not for the Mangala Sutra Dharana. Mangala Sutra Dharana is a later addition to Vaidika Vivaha. Therefore, the Muhurta is for Panigraha. So, if at all anyone wants to have Panigrahana happening before, please look at the proper Muhurta. Very important. Auspicious union. And therefore, here Panigrahana happened. Bhagavan holds Padmavati's hand. And then together, Vagdanam, Pradhanam cha Varanam, Panipidanam, Saptapadi cha Panchangaha, Vivahaha, Prakirtitaha. The final stage of the Vivaha, Saptapadi. Srinivasa, together with Padmavati, holding her hand gently, together, they go through the Agni 7 times. Ekamishe Vishnustvan Vetu, Dvevushe Vishnustvan Vetu, Trinipadaya Vishnustvan Vetu, Chatvari Mayobhavaya Vishnustvan Vetu, Panchamashubhyo Vishnustvan Vetu, Shadrutubhyo Vishnustvan Vetu, Saptabhyo Hotrabhyo Vishnustvan Vetu. Saptapadi is concluded. Srinivasa Kalyanam is concluded. All the celestials, all the devatas celebrate festivities. They rejoice for that auspicious union of Srinivasa with Padmavati Devi. This is the auspicious union of Bhagavan's Kripa with Bhakta's Shraddha. This is that union of surrender and bhakti. This is the greatest of the unions. It is an event that we have to celebrate every day, reminding us of which Srinivasa, standing majestically on top of Seshachala, is only telling us one thing. He, the Sarvaseshi, is ready to embrace his Sesha. The moment we cultivate the Seshatva Jnana, we realize that every Sesha is already in the embrace of the Seshi. Kantaya Kalyana Nidhaye Nidhetinam Shri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam. Lakshmi Savibramaloka Subhru Vibhrama Chakshushe Chakshushe Sarvalokanam Venkateshaya Mangalam. Mangalachasarya Parehi Madacharya Purogamai Sarvaischa Purvai Acharyai Sakritayast Mangalam. Jai Sri Krishna, Sarvam Se Krishna, Sarvam Se Krishna Pramasta.